For generations, we've been taught that war is this noble, patriotic thing. But what if that's not the whole story? What if it's actually a setup, a racket designed to make a tiny group of people incredibly rich? Now, that's a pretty explosive claim, right? But what makes it truly jaw-dropping is who said it first.
I spent 33 years being a high-class muscle man for big business, a gangster for capitalism. Wow. Just let that sink in. Those are some heavy words. You might expect to hear them from a protester, maybe an activist, but they came from someone way, way on the inside.
The man who said that, none other than Major General Smedley Butler of the United States Marine Corps, a top general calling himself a gangster. It just doesn't compute, right? And that's exactly what makes his story so unbelievably powerful.
And let's be clear, this wasn't some nobody. We're talking about one of the most decorated Marines in American history. I mean, the guy got 2 Medals of Honor, 34 years in the service. Theodore Roosevelt himself called him the outstanding American soldier. This was a bona fide American hero, which makes what he said and what he did next even more shocking.
See, after he retired, Butler didn't just go play golf. Not even close. He turned around and decided to expose the very system he had served his entire life. He became a whistleblower against the entire war machine.
Now, to really get what he was arguing, you have to understand this one word he used all the time: racket. For him, a racket isn't just a crime, it's a massive con. It's something that looks one way to most of us, but is really being run for the benefit of a small insider group, while everyone else pays the price.
And he didn't mince words. He called war the oldest, most profitable, and most vicious racket there is. He saw it as a global business where the profits are counted in dollars, but the real cost, well, that's counted in human lives.
So who were these insiders getting rich? Butler points right to the data. During World War I, just that one war, the United States got at least 21,000 new millionaires and billionaires. And get this, that's just the ones they could count from tax returns.
But then he hits you with this gut punch of a question. How many of those guys who made millions ever actually saw the front line? How many of them ever felt the fear of going over the top of a trench? You already know the answer, don't you? It's zero.
So, let's do what Butler did. Let's follow the money and see just how deep this rabbit hole goes. Okay, check this out. Let's take the DuPont Company, the guys who made gunpowder. Before the war, they were doing okay, making about $6 million a year in profit. Pretty good, right? Well, during the war, that number jumped to $58 million every single year.
That is a 950% increase in profits. That's not just a good business year. For some people, war wasn't a tragedy. It was the business opportunity of a lifetime.
And DuPont wasn't alone. It was the same story everywhere you looked. Bethlehem Steel, profits up over 700%. U.S. Steel, profits more than doubled. And International Nickel, this is just insane. Their profits went up by 1,700%. The racket was paying off big time.
This slide just lays it all out, side by side. It's a tale of two completely different worlds. On one side, you have the profiteers, safe at home, making fortunes they could never have dreamed of. And on the other side, the soldier, making $30 a month, facing shattered minds, mangled bodies, and maybe, just maybe, the ultimate price. For Butler, this wasn't a bug in the system. It was the entire system.
And some of the ways they made money were just comical if they weren't so tragic. They sold the army 20 million mosquito nets for the trenches in France, a place with no mosquitoes. They sold saddles for horses for an army that had no horses overseas. They even got paid for wooden ships that literally could not float. Every single one of these ridiculous deals was pure profit for someone.
But all that money had to be paid for somehow. And here's the other side of the ledger, the human cost. Butler saw it with his own eyes. He walked through the veteran hospitals and saw what he called destroyed men. The absolute best and brightest of their generation, just broken.
And the cost kept piling up long after the war was over. Butler reported that the death rate for veterans was 3 times higher than for the guys who stayed home. The racket kept sending out bills, paid in blood and sorrow for years and years. But here's the thing you gotta love about Smedley Butler. He didn't just complain. He wasn't just pointing fingers. He came up with a plan. A radical, 3-step plan to smash the war racket once and for all. His plan was brutally simple. Step 1. Take the profit out of war. Period. Before you draft a single kid, you draft the CEOs, the bankers, the factory owners, and you pay them $30 a month, just like the soldiers. Step 2. Only let the people who would actually have to go and fight be allowed to vote on whether or not to go to war. And Step 3. Make it a defense-only military. Lock it down by law so they can't be used for foreign adventures.
After a lifetime on the front lines, both in battle and in politics, his final conclusion couldn't have been more simple or more clear. To hell with war.
So Major General Smedley Butler laid all this out way back in 1935. It's been almost a century, and his explosive argument leaves us with a really big, really important question we have to ask ourselves. Is war still a racket today?